Okay, let me just verify here real quick that we are live. Should be playing here. I always like just to make sure that we're really running here. Cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, hello everybody. It's Dr. Barnes, and I am here with Kelly, who is one of the co-owners of Juicekeys, who, for my family, it's one of our favorite spots here in Raleigh to just fuel up and have good foods. And this is something new we want to start. It's just featuring people in the Triangle area who are really on mission with us, and helping make this place a healthier place to live in. So thanks for coming on. I mean,
excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we kind of officially met about a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of heard somewhat of the story just through some friends about how Juicekeys kind of came about. But I'd love to hear what gave you and your brother the idea and the energy to start it.
Yeah. Well, so it all kind of started back. I was a competitive gymnast for 11 years. And when I was 15, I broke my T7. And that was a catalyst to living in a lot of health challenges for about 6 years. Just the standard American diet. I'm 33 now. So back at that time, fat-free was popular, sugar-free, just packaged foods were booming. And I just fell right into that and just was giving my body no nutrition and felt worse and worse, got hypothyroid, hair thinning, bloated, tons of pain. And different seeds had been planted along the way. And it wasn't until the summer of 2006 where it was just kind of understanding what organic food was. And I decided just to go all organic, stop eating packaged foods, just eating actual real food. And after that summer, I really noticed a big difference in my health and just the inflammation. You can tell when someone's face is just holding that inflammation. And so I knew I was onto something. So I continued that. My brother, meanwhile, he was in the Marines. I was just doing on my own health journey and just discovering all these things that I was in control. And then in 2008, while I was at NC State, I had a teacher who contributed healing his stage 4 cancer through juicing, through changing his diet, through detoxing. Yep. And I knew through my personal experience, I was like, wow, this is it had really changed me. But then when I met him, I was like, we are really in control of our own health if we want to be. We just got to know what to do and give it the tools to help it run towards health and stop pounding it with stress all day with toxicity.
Yeah.
So, he was so passionate and amazing. And so I just latched onto him, and he's like, go research this doctor that went holistic. So I'd go research a doctor who either was frustrated with patients not getting better or got sick themselves and was like, I'm going to look outside the box. And then he's the one that introduced me to juicing. I had never juiced before. He's like, you got to go get a juicer. And his passion is just overflowing. He's like, you'll feel amazing.
Yeah.
He's like, just juice celery and carrots. And I got a juicer having no idea what I was going to do. And I was like, I just put celery in it. And I remember holding my nose. I'm like, what am I about to drink? It was just so foreign to me.
Yeah.
So for 6 months, I was consistent, and I ate other things, but I drank celery juice every day.
Yeah.
And so that just really was another eye opener to my journey. Then it led me to another place in Florida called Hippocrates. And I was just anywhere I could learn about holistic health, I would, and I applied it. And to this point in my life, I was telling my family and my friends and anyone that I really loved, I was became a police about it, which never helps anyone change. But, I was like, you have to do this, you have to do that. My brother was deployed 2 times to Afghanistan during this time. And so I would send him I remember he had a tooth infection. I'm sending him clove oil and algae supplements only to find out that he didn't take it. And I'm like, seriously? So anyways, Chris eventually, and I was known as the crazy one in the family.
Join the club.
Yeah. So no, and anyways, so finally after Chris had 2 deployments, he was stationed out in 29 Palms in California. and there was a local juice bar out there. So then he had his own experience, and he started juicing. He'd go to this juice bar every single day, getting green juice and wheatgrass. And then he was like, wow, my sister's not so crazy. There's actually something to this. And he also ended up going to business school out there. So then he moved back to Raleigh. I was doing health consultations and biofeedback. And he's like, hey, you want to open up a juice bar? I was like, I guess, I guess. I mean,
as all a good ideas start with.
I was a waitress for a summer, but and so we started that May. We literally put our heads together. We thought we were going to sell other people's products. So we were going to pick top of the line products, hard to find good products out there.
Yeah.
Stuff that helps with stress, immune, all the problems out there, being like, hey, these are good supplements, or this is good food, but from other people. So we started our business 3 years ago in July. And our dad has an old showroom. We had nowhere to go. And he's like, you guys can come here. And we were like, awesome. And so we started with Sun Warrior Protein. We had carried Suja Juice because we didn't, we were carrying other people's products. Mm-hmm. And then we had some nuts. And that's how we started. And we had a little sign that we made, chalkboard sign. And then 11 months into that, it was like, okay, we need our own product. Yeah. And so then that's when we started creating. We started with 6 smoothies. Then we added the juices and shots. And now we have, we have 30 menu items and plus the grab and goes and the shots. That's how it was born.
For me, I'll never forget it. Turn your volume down on the computer a little bit. Yeah, I hear an echo. It might be what it is. There we go. Okay. I remember the first time I ever juiced, which, classically back in the day was just wheatgrass. That was wheatgrass shots was juice. And I remember the first time I ever did it, my friends told me, watch out, you're going to feel like you're drunk or something like that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I did 3 of them. And the flood of nutrition in my body, it literally you were buzzed. It was crazy. Yeah,
it is. It is. So it's so absorbable that it's so amazing about juice. And one of the reasons I think it's so powerful is because we absorb, and you absorb it so quickly.
Correct. Yeah.
So then you feel it.
And then, what's interesting too is then as I, became a doctor and started doing nutrition as well in my office, beginning to understand, just as an example, the power that kind of nutrition can have, that just high flooding, high concentration nutrition what it can do. And it's amazing. And too, to kind of circle back, it's funny, like you say, we started with just a few things and all that, and a chalkboard sign. I think a lot of times when people have an idea and are passionate about it, it's you wait for the stars to align and everything to be perfect and then launch, which in your case, it kind of did align because you did have this, nice space to be able to adopt and take over and, obviously turn it into yourself. But yeah, I think that's so cool.
And I totally credit my brother for starting it. I am that person that's hey, let's just wait for it all to be perfect and we can open. And Chris is the go-getter. He's like, well, we're open. And I'm like, we're opening with protein and juice. How are we going to survive? But it's awesome. It's the belief in what we were doing that, kept that motivation going.
And for you guys, for me to find you, it was funny because, usually the places that, I'm always skeptical whenever I have patients or I hear something about, oh, there's this health place over here. And, for me, I've just been in this for so long now. I mean, I have the ability to walk into a place, look at their menu and figure out if they're legit real fast or not. And, part of it is that the quality, of course, is one thing, but, knowing, I mean, I don't know anything about your industry, but I do know how much certain ingredients, cost if I were just to, go buy in the store. And I think I'm always suspicious, when you can find this green juice and it's $4, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, this is not the real deal. So I think part of it, people, they get initially thrown off by pricing, and not even that your guys is, I mean, you're making a fair profit, but they get turned off thinking, oh my God, this is so expensive. But it's like, they never factor in the time, like, well, are you going to buy a $400 juicer, or $300? Are you going to buy all the things, and are you going to take the time to do it? And you know what I mean? And so that was just one thing I really appreciate about you, is just looking at your whole menu. And it wasn't even just like a few items that was legit. It's like your whole menu has, 100% organic, and, no cheating anywhere. And that for me is really cool, because it shows a lot of integrity. And what I found is that any business, especially revolved around health, that was born out of a mission and really a desire to see people get healthy and not just make a profit, looks like yours, versus, the ones, don't get me wrong, I mean, healthy right now is like, and even juicing is like such a fad. I mean, they're popping up, all over, but there are places that are doing it just to make money and cutting corners and, cheating people. And this is going to lead into my next question, but which one thing you told me about the importance of juicing organic, and why really juicing non-organic is really actually not only bad, but actually can make you really sick. So you want to just go into that a little bit about that concept?
I mean, I'm a huge believer in organic. That was one of the things that got me right in the beginning. It was just a common sense factor of like, okay, I want to get healthier. So why am I going to put additional chemicals in my body when I'm trying to get healthier?
Yep.
So, of course, so I eat an all organic diet, and with juicing, because juicing, is pre-digested, so it's going to absorb very, very quickly into the body, which is one of the many, great, powerful things about it.
Yeah.
But also it's kind of like, okay, I'm juicing because I want to feel better. I want to nourish my cells. I want to give my body nutrients and tools to run towards better health. But it's like, if you do not conventional produce, then it's basically like pesticides and everything are just like
concentrated.
It's like a magnet. It's like attached all alongside it. So it's just kind of like, I'm trying to cleanse and nourish my body, but at the same time, I'm putting in bad things.
Yeah.
So juicing, I mean, I believe everything should, try to do everything organic.
Yeah.
But juicing is one of those things. Like, if I had to choose between having a conventional salad, wouldn't be happy about it.
Yep.
Having conventional juice, I would hands down choose the salad, because that's going to take more work for my body to digest and absorb than the juice. So it's juicing just across the board. It's just like,
when you said that a couple weeks ago, I mean, I would get like a juice from Whole Foods every now and then. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, I feel like a juice, but now I'm like, I never even thought about it. So anyways, I personally thank you for that, because you just saved me like dumping all kinds of chemicals in my body. What that's called is called the law of biological concentration. And how that also works is like in the food industry, like the meat industry. So if, in order to make a pound of beef, like, a pound of meat on a cow, they need to eat 20 pounds of chemically sprayed grain. So you think about how much chemical you need to use to get 20 pounds of crop harvested, and then it's all soaked in that, and then it's going into 1 pound of beef, and you eat that pound of beef, it's like it just massively accumulates in the body. So anyways, that's huge. So for a person that and maybe I'll ask this in two ways. For a person that is just looking to get into juicing, like you said, you did celery juice. I would say most people
don't start there.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, most people are going to be like, I'd rather die than
that's not the starting place.
Yeah. But what would you tell people? Like, okay, maybe I want to do some juicing on my own, or I'd like to, try some juice. You'd be surprised how few people have really had a juice.
Yeah.
What's like a good recipe, just as far as like a basic one that people can make easily. And then, also specifically at Juicekeys, like, if they were to walk in, they're like, hey, I want to try something where would you start them at?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, you can always, just to get used to the concept of juicing. I mean, you pick the fruits and vegetables that are going to have a lot of juice to kind of give you that,
So like, just give me a few examples of that.
Okay.
Like apples, probably.
Cucumber is very mild tasting. Celery is more bitter, so you don't want to start with that. But you could do, half your juice, or even, half your juice with cucumber, and then you could pick one fruit to sweeten it. So apple, and then you can add in, just to understand, a few pieces of kale, just to understand the concept of juice. And then go greener, because you want to go, the greener you go, the better. The more it's going to nourish the body, the more you're going to, your body's going to release the stored toxins. It'll help you detox. So finding like a good vegetable that has some juice, because it's great to add, anyone can do straight fruit juice. I mean, there's fruit juices right. Those are all pasteurized, so it's a big difference between fresh juice, pasteurized. But the greens is just, it's so important. The more you can get greens in. So to finish that, so you could do cucumber and like 50% cucumber, 50% apple, and then you could just try that, or you could put in a handful of parsley or kale, the more concentrated greens, and start with 3 ingredients. Orange and carrot is a great combination too if someone's like scared of greens, because we definitely, I've met people that are scared to drink greens. So like orange, carrot, apple. We do one at the store.
They think they're gonna die, but then they have no problem with their like Chick-fil-A sandwich, right?
Right. There's an awesome quote. It's like, no one becomes a researcher until they start eating healthy, and then they just are like, what they're putting into their body. I'll have to find it, but
no, that's good. I'm with you. Yeah.
So then at the store we have a chart, and it goes greenest or sweetest to greenest to help guide people. Okay, you're a beginner juicer. We'll start with the sweeter ones that have kind of like I was talking about, some kale, some cucumber, some apple, and lemon. Lemon and limes are awesome to throw in there, especially the greener you go, because it's going to help give it that just more flavor.
Yeah.
So a beginner, we typically recommend them to do like the orange vitality, which is orange, apple, carrot, and then we throw in the ginger and turmeric, which is, it's not overpowering with that, but that's just a really great beginner juice.
Yeah.
And usually, I think it tastes like candy. Like it tastes, it's really good. And it's if someone's worried about juicing them, they can do that and like drink carrots, even that can be hard for some people to imagine drinking carrots. And then, or a green one, we have a green lemonade, which is, it's a decent amount of kale in there, and then lemon, cucumber, lemon and apple. And then you can go greener, all the way to like the green juices. But for beginners, we just recommend, starting out, but having the goal to grow and have your greener juices, just because that's going to nourish the body even more so.
And then for like a beginner, if they want to do like a full on, like, cleanse or whatever, like, would you do well, actually, why don't you just kind of share like what like a cleanse, like a juice cleanse day? I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but like kind of what that kind of day would look like and how someone would start that.
Right. So the juice, we call them Jumpstarters. The point of them are just to really help jumpstart the body into a healthier lifestyle. So I always give the analogy of when you do a Jumpstarter or a juice cleanse, if you picture the inside of the body as a kitchen, and if you decide to do a deep cleanse in your kitchen, and you start taking out all the pots and pans and taking everything out, it's going to get dustier and messier before it gets better. So a cleanse, when you do something like a Jumpstarter, or you're having juice all day, the body's going to feel really safe to release stored toxins. So when we have 2 different cleanses. You can do juice at dinner, which is my personal favorite, because I just love doing that intermittent fasting and having some kind of dinner at the end of the day. And that's 4 juices, and we're huge on superfood shots. They're just so nutrient dense, and it's just giving the body an extra oomph to throw that in there. So you would juice, depending on what you could do, the fruitier ones, which is a beginner's level, or you could go all the way to advanced, which is straight green juices. And you would do a breakfast, mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, and you'd have your 2 shots. And then we have a sprout salad with a chicken salad, and that's the paleo option, or you could do a vegan option, and we throw in our energy balls. But it just when you pour good nutrition into the body and you take work off of the body, it's like the body's like, oh, my liver has been dying for some attention, or my kidneys have been dying for some attention. And it's just, we're pounding it all day long with lots of food, and it's not freed up to go do that. So you take something that is pre-digested, like juice, then it's like the body's used to making up this time, 45 minutes digesting, and now all of a sudden it's digesting for 15 minutes. So it's like, oh my gosh, I just digested for 15 minutes. I have all this time I'm not used to. Plus, you gave me tools. Yeah. You know, like you go eat again back, not to keep going to Chick-fil-A, but you go there and it's like your body has to do all this work and then no tools. Like all it was is, you know, it's like what tools is the body going to pull from that to do its daily job? Yeah, love it. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you can see this, but people are literally placing orders right now on the comment. Oh, really? So I'm just going to pause for a second because there's some people asking some questions. So before we get off right now, what I'll do is number one, for those that are watching, show Juicekeys some love and like this post and share it. And then if you do have questions, you know, specifically related to juicing, start typing them in here now so we can hit them before we wrap up, because I want to respect your time here too. But so I'll feed you some questions here in a few minutes once we get to the end, if that sounds cool. Yeah, sounds great. Cool. All right, so the next question then I would have to kind of piggyback with that. But so if you have someone, you know, who's been really, say, doing the health thing, quote unquote, for a while, what are some really like high level things that like just you found are like good to do either every once in a while or daily? Like what would you say is like an elite thing to add in for those that have been kind of living a healthy lifestyle for quite some time that they might not have thought of? Yeah. And I feel like that we're always, you know, striving to get to that next level, no matter. I've been in this lifestyle for 11 years and it's like, I'm always like, oh man, I need, you know, I'm always looking for the next thing that I can add. Yep. And I would always say, you know, the green, like going back to the juices, if we can do the shots and then the green juices and the algaes, because you want to think back to it. This one doctor told me, it always stuck with me. He's like, it's not what we eat, it's what we absorb. Yeah. So you can eat perfectly. It's like you could eat all these salads and these greens and all this, but if you're not absorbing it, then it's not getting into the cells and it's not doing anything. Yeah. So going back to like, if you have, you know, whatever your norm is, if you just take that, let's just say someone's norm is they have a healthy breakfast, just say they have like a nice organic smoothie in the morning and they have something healthy for lunch and they're not doing any juice, you know, having a green juice and superfood shots. Yeah. That's going to give you more nutrients. And, you know, when you put more nutrients in, the body's going to say, okay, you just gave me nutrients. So it's okay if I release a little toxicity into my bloodstream to flush out of my body instead of, you know, you go eat a Big Mac, the body's like, are you crazy? You think I'm actually going to detox right now? Yep. So, and water is, none of us, I'm guilty for not drinking enough water. Yeah. I'm always willing to hydrate. I'm trying right now to catch up for the day. That's something that we all can improve on. Yeah. But definitely like I'm huge into algae. We have a lot of raw, fresh, frozen algae. There's hardly any out there. We have a raw, fresh. What would you do with that? Like with the algae, you just put it in the smoothie or in your juice or whatever? Yeah, the spirulina, throwing that in your smoothie. And that one's amazing. It's a raw, fresh, frozen one. There's only one in the United States that does it, like this company down in Florida. Yeah, they're usually not raw. Yeah. Right. And I mean, when it comes to us, it's still living for 2 weeks until you freeze it. Yeah. So we're actually going to sell the living spirulina soon because we're so obsessed with it. So it's really that's awesome. So just putting more things that are more nutrient dense into the body is going to really give the body more tools to run towards health. What would you say if you just had to guess, like in one of your sort of like, as you said on your list, like your deeper down dark green juices, like how many servings would you say of like green vegetables are in like one juice? There's at least 3+ pounds of vegetables in a juice. So serving wise, like 10 probably. I don't even know what is considered a serving of vegetables. Maybe I don't even know what a cup maybe. I don't know. So I guess it would maybe depend. I need to take a picture of all, you know, because I mean you have. Yeah, I think that'd be huge because
the thing I always say is like, at some point, back in World War II and all this stuff, they put grains at the bottom of the food pyramid, where for thousands of years before that, obviously vegetables would have been, and a little bit of fruit would have been like the base of people's diets, meat when they had it, but some cultures had more, but, in general, was not necessarily a daily thing. So when I see this like poultry, like 4 to 6 servings of vegetables a day, I'm like, no wonder why everybody's dying, because like that, that's going to like nourish your like one foot, you know what I mean? Like the right foot, like that's enough vitamins for your right foot. Other than that, the rest of you is dead.
Right.
So that's what I'm always looking for as an advantage, because, even if I'm making a smoothie and like I'm putting spinach in it in the morning, like, okay, that's maybe a couple servings. And even if I eat a salad for dinner or for lunch, right, you get a couple more plus some veggies. And then, even if you have like 1 or 2 servings of vegetables for dinner, like you maybe got 6 to 7, even if you're really trying. So dropping a juice in there is like you're tripling that.
Yeah.
Potentially for the day. It's like, how would you not, be healthier from doing that?
Right. So it always does. You always can get way more greens, and you're going to absorb and digest way more greens through a juice. And it doesn't mean don't eat your salads. Absolutely. Do all that. But
juicing's not, so you're saying juicing is a complement, in that case, is a complement to a healthy diet, not necessarily a replacement.
It's a tool. Exactly. It's a tool in the toolbox. And there's so many, I feel like, to improve your health, it's not one thing, there's so many tools in your toolbox that you're going to grab from.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I going to sleep good? How am I going to manage my stress? How am I going to, there's just so many things. And that's what's so amazing about getting into this kind of lifestyle, is because if you felt trapped like this, you step into this lifestyle and the possibilities are endless. So it's so hopeful to someone who may have felt stuck. And I know I felt stuck.
Yeah.
That's finally, I was just like hitting up against medical walls, and I'm just like, medication, okay, or listening to the standard American diet.
Yeah.
And that stuff those are Band-Aids.
Exactly. What's been the most rewarding thing about being open these last 3 years? I know this wasn't on your list.
Yeah. I would say, God, there's a lot of things feel really grateful for about it. I would say I'm incredibly close with my family, my mom, dad, and brother. And just starting it out with them has been really, when we started, our mom worked for Hugs up front for 3 years. She's just worked for Hugs. And then our dad started.
I need an employee like that.
Huh?
I need an employee like that.
Yeah. And then our dad started out in the kitchen with us, and he'd have to, he has his own job, but we're like, we need help. So he's mopping the floors and stuff. So we, being with them, and we have an absolutely incredible team that is our family. And I love getting feedback from our customers of them feeling better.
Yeah.
It's just, I love hearing their stories and their feedback of, whatever it is, of like, man, I started juicing and this has changed and this has changed and this has changed, or, blood sugar, or it's just all different things. That's, you're like, wow, this is making an impact.
Yeah.
And then we have really amazing customers that are just enjoyable to be around, and like-minded people. And I love having, working at a place that I can get juice easily. I have to go home and pull out my juicer and wash all the veggies, because it's a lot of work.
So what's been like the, I don't know, say like the struggle, because I know that struggle just kind of makes things, forges character and all that. But what's been the hardest part about opening up?
Yeah, I think we really did. We did have the showroom to open up in, but other than that, we started from scratch. I knew what I believed in and what I did in my life, but I was a waitress for a summer. I hadn't touched the food industry. Mm-hmm. So there's been lots of learning curves of how do you work in the food industry, and forming those systems and the protocols and stuff, so it does work efficiently. And then, having balance outside of work, because when you start up a business, it's your baby, And,
Yeah.
but how do you,
Oh, I know.
you're taking care of yourself outside of work, not getting burnt out, and doing what you need to do so you can be your best self when you come to work.
Awesome.
So.
All right. So somebody wants a pumpkin spice bowl. Somebody wants a Momoka, Orange Vitality's Life. All right, here's a question. Would a straight green juice have the same effect if you added stevia instead of apple to sweeten? So I guess maybe the question is, stevia and juicing, does that take away by any chance, you think, or?
No, I mean, I'm a big fan of stevia. I know there are a lot of people, I think there's some miseducation out there of what stevia is. I think it needs to be, because there's some unpure stevias, certain ones out there, but the one we use is pressed directly from the stevia plant.
Yeah.
Always in the ideal world, if we could grow our own stevia, that would be awesome, but we're just not in a place to do that. But I think that's not going to take away from it.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. I guess I'm assuming the question is sort of based on the fact that if they wanted to keep all fruit out of there.
I think that I've never personally tried stevia in my juice, but I think that's actually a good idea, and I now want to try it.
Cool.
So.
Another question is, best juicer to buy and start with?
I like the Omega 8600. That's
you want to talk a little bit about just like, not all juicers are created equally, as far as how, like, there's some specifics I know with maybe, I don't know if you feel comfortable about that, but
are better. You don't want your juice to get heated up. So the Omega 8600, it's one gear, so it's going to wring it out.
Yeah.
And it's easy when you get a juicer, you do have to consider because I like the cleaning and you just want to make it realistic.
Yeah.
And the Omega 8600, I just feel, and I think it's a medium for a higher end juicer. I could be wrong, but it might be like 300.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
250, 300 range.
And you can buy them refurbished too, I think too. It'd look for a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, and the thing I liked, the only negative of that one, it's super easy to clean. You can get lots of good juice out of it. There's a plastic piece. I can't remember if it's the screen. I broke it twice. That's how I know.
But they replace it.
You can't. Yeah, they do. Yeah. You just can't stuff too much vegetables in it once.
Yeah.
And then the Green Star is what I originally started out with, and it's held up amazing, but it's very heavy and a pain in the butt to clean.
Okay.
So it's just like, what are you going to be more motivated to? If you're going to juice more, get the one you're going to juice more with.
Awesome. Well, we'll kind of wrap up here, but so we are, for those that are watching this, most of you probably know, if at least you follow me, that we're having a big health and wellness seminar with major focus on nutrition and toxicity coming up on Saturday, November 4th. Juicekeys is going to be there as one of our just healthy, community partners. And do you guys know what you're bringing yet? What you're planning on doing little samples of? Not
yet. I know we wanted to do some of the shots.
Yeah.
Wanted to coordinate a little bit more with you, but some of the shots, juices.
So you'll have a variety of stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna have a variety of things.
Yeah. And then also tell everybody where you're located and just any specifics about your business. And then I know you're opened up a new location too, so you can mention that.
Yeah. So we are at Quell Corner Shopping Center. It's off Falls of the Noose Road. Right there's Big Ed's and Butcher's Market. So that's where we're at right now. So Quell Corners Shopping Center. And then we're opening up about 10 minutes down the road at Lafayette Village, which is also off Falls of the Noose. And our goal for that is November 3rd, but it's probably going to be, it could be a couple weeks later. It just depends on the build out. So we're excited. Yeah,
when I came to Juicekeys a couple days ago, there was an ambulance outside of Big Ed's, so that was not probably a good sign from that. So
yeah,
but maybe people are like, we're gonna go to Big Ed's, and you never know how many people like pull into Juicekeys and
people come to us for. It's kind of funny. People actually will come there and come to us for dessert. Like they'll come get a smoothie for dessert, which
somehow
is crazy.
Canceling out. I don't know, and they probably not. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on. And again, if you're watching this, so other people can get a chance just to see and learn more about one of our local community partners in Juicekeys. Like and share this post. And thank you, Kelly, for taking time, I'm sure after a busy, long day, to be on here. And thanks for helping me save lives in this community. Simple as that.
It's been an honor. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Peace out. Have a good night. And we'll talk to you soon.